Cyrene's best teammates, guys, I'm sure you want to know what they are, and that's what we're going to be going over in today's video, going over her best in slot teammates. Well, really, her best in slot Cryos heirs, because she works so differently and gives very varying buffs depending on what Cryos heir you have on the team. So it's really a Cryos heir tier list going over what the best Cryos heirs she works with are. And then at the end of the video, I'll touch more on like her outside of Cryos heir teams, because genuinely that's like the main majority of who she works with, guys. And the reason why she works with the Cryos heirs so good here is, like, you can see my tier list here. We're gonna be going over best in slots S, A, B, C. Not to say she's bad. The ones that she works the best with at the top, obviously, in C rank doesn't mean they're bad and unusable. I just think that they get the most, or least, usability out of her very specific buffs when you could just use her on another team and get a lot better use out of those buffs there. So really quickly, guys, what I mean by this is, like, literally look at this, guys. Like, she really just fixes the problems of the Cryos heirs, right? Like Aglia, for example. What does she have issues with? She has issues with energy. So what do? You give Aglia 70 extra energy. Fucking massive there, right? On top of this, you're increasing her damage and doing defense ignore, so massive there. What are you doing with Tribby? Oh, she's going to be ignoring 12% defense. Why is that good? Because first of all, Tribby already is going to be ignoring some resistance. She's already putting vulnerability on me. And then on top of that, she's also ignoring defense now and also dealing additional damage with her zones as well. So that's also really good and helps her DPS quite a bit. Then you look at someone like Castros, keeps her dragging up for longer. One of the main issues with her. Literally, this is Hoyoverse selling you the solution to every single character you pulled in 3.x. So first, guys, on our list, I'm going to put Hysolence up here. And the reason why I have her so low on this list, guys, is because when I think of a DOT team, I really don't think of running anyone outside of having triple dot on the team, having a Black Swan, having a Kafka, having a Hysolence. Now, if we take a look at what buff she provides the Hysolence, I mean, it's a good buff. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, it's super good for her because it basically turns her into Kafka, right? Now, it is a one-time effect, meaning you do need to activate it multiple times. We'll talk about the caveat of that in a second here. But you get Flowing Warmth, which basically, whenever she consumes this, she regenerates 60 energy. She's also, in this battle, going to be increasing damage dealt by Hysolence by 120%. After Hysolence uses a basic attack or skill attack on enemies, you're going to be causing dot damage equal to around 60 to 80% of their original damage, depending on what you use on the enemy attack, basic attack, or skill, right? So literally becoming like Kafka. Now, the caveat I see here, number one, ult charge. She doesn't have a Memo Sprite, meaning getting the ult back up for someone like Cyrene is actually going to be quite difficult. And also, when you think about it, if you're running a sustainless team, sure, I think this works. But I think for the majority of players, when are you realistically running a sustainless team? I don't know when the case is. And then you got to think about, who are you taking out of the team? Are you taking out Black Swan? Okay, then you lose all of your Arcana stacks, and then you're losing a lot of that dot damage you're already dealing. Okay, well then do you take off Kafka from that team because she is a substitute? Well, then you're taking off a whole nother source of reprocking that dot damage. So that's the dilemma you kind of run into here with her, and that's why I have her so low on this list, guys. Hopping into our second character down here, guys, which is actually going to be My Day. My Day, I think, kind of shares these same issues as Hysolence does, because for him, it's removing all CC debuffs, which is okay, right? And also, if he's in the Vendetta state, he uses one instance of Godslayer Be God, which is really good. It doesn't consume a charge, which means you get free damage out of that, right? 200% crit damage is nice, and if the target gets defeated before use, then it'll target the new arriving enemy instead. If My Day is not in the Vendetta state, then it advances action by 100%. This is good. This is a one-time effect, though, and I think you can run into some of those ult issues that you run into with other non-Memo Sprite S teams. So that is another reason why I have him so low on the list here. But that's all that I have for C tier here. Let's go ahead and move up now to B tier. I'm going to put something maybe controversial. Cypher. I think Cypher and her work really well together, honestly. Like, I really do think they work quite hand in hand with each other. But I think Cypher suffers from the same fate as other characters, right? While yes, this is better, and that's why I have it higher on the list, because it's effective for the whole battle. You ult on her once, she has this for the rest of the battle, right? When used on Cypher, increase damage dealt of Cypher by 36% and decrease the defense of patron by 20%. That's a 20% def shred on your patron, but then you're also getting an additional 12% defense shred on adjacent enemies as well. So this is good. It is definitely better. But you run into ult issues, I feel like, with her still being on the team because she doesn't have a Memo Sprite active. And genuinely, just the teams that Cypher kind of runs on anyways doesn't mesh up the best with the teams you're putting, you know, Cyrene on. Next up here, guys, we're going to be putting Mr. Dan Heng on this list here. And Dan Heng, same situation as before, guys. It's going to be kind of hard to get Cyrene's ult back up because he doesn't have technically a Memo Sprite. Now, I will say with him, like, this is going to be, I think, acting for the full thing of battle, right? It doesn't necessarily say that here, but first of all, guys, you're increasing the Soul Dragon's damage based off of the shield effect you have on your ally. And secondly, guys, you're giving them a 24% damage increase, which is nice. It's not the best thing in the world, but it definitely is better than having no type of buff, right? Which ultimately is going to be okay, but still doesn't meet the threshold of being like super uber good to like want to put this buff on him over anyone else on your team. And in most teams, you're probably not running Dan Heng unless you're running him with Anaxa. in like Cryos Air S teams, like if we're taking a look at what Dan Heng's best teams are right now in the game, like you see him in teams with Fanussi, but I mean, realistically, are you running a team with him and Fanussi, right? You're mainly just running hyper carry here with 3 supports. Then if you're running with Fei Xiao, then there's no other Cryos Air there. Do you really want to be just not getting the additional free buffs that she gives out? And I think we kind of run the same issue when we're talking about Miss Remembrance MC here, because in most teams, for me, just a quick little breakdown of Remembrance MC, I think you're going to run probably a better support anyways on the team because you're already giving true damage out to the team. So while yes, I think the true damage they give out is absolutely amazing, immaculate even, what other buffs do they really offer outside of that? They offer crit rate, they offer some crit damage. That's okay, but there are better buffers. Like you can throw a Tribute on the team and probably get much more value out of Tribute on the team there than you can out of Remembrance MC. The reason why they're up higher than the other characters, though, is because they actually are going to be advancing forward the action of Cyrene to make sure she's attacking again, which then leads to more stacks, which then leads to more ult, and also their Remembrance as well. So they have a Memo Sprite, so that also does come in quite a bit of clutch. Next up, guys, is going to be an Accent. The reason why I like an Accent so much, guys, is because first of all, it gives a skill point back, which is nice. Also allows them to take 3 skill usages. On top of this as well, you're going to be getting True Knowledge, which increases the attack of all Erudition Path characters and skill damage of all the characters by 40% until the start of his next turn. Now, the problem I see with this is the same problem I see with all the other characters, that they don't have Memo Sprites where they can charge her up effectively and efficiently, which is the fact that if you're not charging her up, this is only a one-time effect. So how often do you actually get these buffs out? Like, these are very temperamental buffs. You don't necessarily have these up at all times, and that's the one issue that I see running in with him. I still think he's good, and then definitely better than these 2 characters right here. I just don't think he deserves to be up here in A tier or S tier. Unless you're running Sustainless, I still think Tribby is a better option for that team, considering how many different times you can do full AoE attacks with Tribby versus her on the team, right? Anyways, guys, that's all that I have to mention now on the B tier. Let's go ahead and hop into our A tier next, guys. Starting off with the A tier for me, guys, is probably going to be someone like Finon. Finon, I think, can actually take quite good use of her, but at the same time, for me, guys, Finon, I think, probably has just a kind of a better team. Like, I think that she does work quite effectively on the team, considering she can give him a free ult, like, off a rip. That's very, very viable for someone like Finon. The main issue I run into here is I think it's only slightly better than having Sunday on the team. And also, Cyrene is still best in slot for Finon with whatever you might say, because, I mean, honestly, Cyrene is not really doing much when he's in his Transcendent state anyways, in terms of, like, giving him free ult and stuff like that. Like, you keep the buffs and stuff like that. And honestly, you're getting a pretty big buff with him whenever you're giving him this buff, because it does last for the full battle, and you can get up to a 72% crit damage increase and a 16% crit rate increase. So, like, it's a big buff for him for sure. I just don't know necessarily how much better it is when you're running him on a team with her versus running him on a team with Sunday. It's big buffs, but it's only marginally better in my opinion, so I'm putting him here. Same thing for Cyrene as well. Cyrene is his best in slot partner, so I don't think you can throw her up higher than the list and then have him where he's at. Like, Cyrene gets a good buff. Like, Cyrene gets like a decent buff. Like, if anything, she's probably B tier, but I'm going to throw her in A tier because they work hand in hand with each other. She gives a higher crit damage buff, which is nice. And then also it allows her to get her stacks back quicker, which will allow you to get double skills off quicker as well. So that ultimately does help out Finon quite a bit. That's all that I have to mention now in terms of the A tier. Let's go ahead and hop into our S tier and best in slot tier. So starting off with the S tier first, guys, we're actually going to be throwing Evernight here, because first of all, effective for the entire battle. Secondly, guys, she has a Memo Sprite. She's a Remembrance character, so it all obviously works pretty well there too. She's giving additional crit damage to the team and then also doing additional damage as well by 18%. So, like, it's a good buff for her. I think Castress is a little bit better, but still a decent buff for her. And she ultimately just works really good with, like, Remembrance characters already. Next, Aglia, guys. Literally, I think probably if you pull this character, it fixes my problems with Aglia. I would consider putting Aglia higher on the tier list because of her, because we literally have at this point in time, guys, a character that finally gives the energy that she so rightfully deserves. And it might be a one-time effect, sure, but you're going to be recharging her ult so quick with how many times the Gentle Maker is going to be moving, how many times Aglia is going to be moving. It's massive. And then on top of that, at 72% damage increase, and then also a 36% defense ignore. You cannot go wrong with this. It is absolutely massive and honestly imperative if you have Aglia. If you have Aglia, I think you pull this character 100%. Next, guys, on this is going to be Tribby. And as we mentioned before, I don't know if we mentioned before, actually, Tribby actually gets benefit, like, all around. Like, Tribby is fucking amazing, guys, like, already, obviously, right? She's obviously providing res pin. She's also going to be providing vulnerability, but with this guy, she's going to be increasing her own damage by ignoring 12% of the enemy's defense, which pairs up nicely with all the other things we just mentioned there. And on top of this as well, guys, she's dealing additional damage, again, whenever she's launching her follow-up attack, so you cannot go wrong here. Literally, she is already the best buffer in the game, in my opinion. So with this new revelation, guys, yeah, absolutely, throw her up in S tier, guys. Now on to best in slot, guys. You probably know what this is. Hyacin, Castress, Cyrene, and this is like her best in slot team right here, guys. Obviously, throw another character, maybe throw a Trippy in there. I think it works. But yeah, Castris and Hyacin get the biggest buffs from her, in my opinion. Now, Hyacin really just because she works so well with Castris already, so it just enhances Castris even further beyond that. So let's take a look at what Castris is going to be doing first, guys. Guys, literally, Dragon. Fixed, alleviated. Like, literally, Dragon feels like it's just alleviated. The problems were alleviated there. On top of that, you're probably getting really easy and efficient stacks back for your ultimate move anyways, because you have someone like Hyacin on the team. Literally, almost fixes Dragon, effective for the entire battle, so you don't have to reuse the ult on her, right? But literally with Hyacin as well, guys, it causes her to get 2 stacks of Ode to Sky. Okay, cool. So when she uses them, you'll have to reuse this ability on her, but it's fine because you have Castris on the team, which doesn't need her ability again. So when this is used on Hyacin, you get 24 energy. When she has Ode to Sky and is providing healing, additionally increases the healing value for Little Ika's Memo Sprite skill by an additional 72%, which leads to more ults for your Castris. And then also with this as well, guys, the additional energy gets her ult back faster. The faster you can get her ult back, the more times Ika attacks, the more ult charge you have for your girly use Cyrene right there, right? So this is why it's a match made in heaven, guys. This is what my personal best in slot list is right here. Don't worry about this, guys. This is the pump fake video. If you guys want to know what the pump fake is for Cyrene, because I do believe she's an absolute pump fake for your account, go watch that video. But that's the best hero that I can make for the Cryos airs for Cyrene. But one thing I do want to mention now is, where does she work for other characters? I think that every other character can work with her. Like, most of your team's getting a 40% damage increase and then a 24% true damage increase as well. But then the main character that's doing the damage and doing attacking is getting an 80% damage increase because you're giving an additional 40%. They're not a Cryos air, so they don't take use of it. But I would probably say they all work with her. Like, it's not bad. Like, it works for sure. I just don't know. Like, I guess she's universal in that sense. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for today's video. That's all that I really have to mention on the other DPS. Like, she works there. Obviously, use her on a team with Cryos because she gives them specialized buffs. Why wouldn't you do it? Anyways, that's going to do it for today's video for me, guys. Hopefully, you enjoyed, and I'll catch you next one, guys. Later, bye-bye.